Honest question though, how does it feel to be in the Marines? Like, is the general tough on you guys? Well, you don't really see many generals. When you do, they're usually pretty nice. Because generals don't see very many. Like, generals work with other generals. They don't work with, like, lower level guys. For the most part. Like, they have dudes that work, like, are assigned to them. But, like, for the most part, you don't see generals. It's cool to be in the Marines. I was telling somebody the other day, it's very high highs. So, like, you work all the time sometimes. And then very low lows. So, sometimes it's really boring and there's nothing to do. And you're just, like, bored as fuck. So, like, you know, it's extremes. It's very rare that you just have, like, regular, like, cool days. It's mostly, like, you either busted your ass all day and you wore the fuck out, or, and it was really exciting, or it's boring as fuck and there's nothing to do. So, you know, it's cool. If you like that kind of lifestyle, it's cool. I've got to do a lot of unique stuff. Have I done any tours? I've done 4 tours. So I've done 2 tours to Asia, 1 tour that was half in Africa and half in Europe, and then I've done 1 tour in the Middle East. Do you miss home when you're serving the U.S. like so when I'm out of the country? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, more just the luxury that comes with being in America, like the freedom. Usually when you're on tour, you have restrictions, so you can't go out and do stuff. It's cool, though, because you get to see shit that you wouldn't normally see, so I've got to travel all over the world, and I got paid to do it. Nico Galaxy likes mierda. Yeah. Yeah, I know that one.
This match will get red hot.
Yeah, the Marines is tight, man. Holy shit, that's a lot of emotes. So in like 10 years, I'm just about to hit 8 years. Next month will be 8 years. Fuck, I didn't think it would go that high. Yeah, June 2021 will be 8 years. I joined in June of 2013. What inspired you to be in the Marines? I was broke, didn't have money for college, so I couldn't afford college in like any type of way. I really liked the vibe I got from the recruiters and the guys who like had already were Marines and then like just got back from boot camp and stuff. Like I really liked their attitude and their work ethic and stuff, because I was hanging out with those guys for a while. And then I wanted to go to the war. You know, it seemed like something I'd be into. You know, I was into war movies, and I was like, you know, let me give this shit a shot. I played Call of Duty. So I kind of wanted to test myself in, you know, the theater of combat. See if I could handle it. Oh, that's it? Well, that was cool. So I wanted to go to combat, pretty much. That was the big one. And then I knew I could leave home. Like, I liked living at home. Like, my dad was cool. I lived with my dad. But, like, I wanted to move out. I was ready to do my own thing. I was 18. I wanted to get out and see the world. And I knew the Marines was a good way to do that. Knew it would get me off my feet. Like, I had $20 in my pocket when I went to boot camp. And I threw it away when I got there because you couldn't have cash on you. So I had, like, nothing. And now, I'm a fucking baller, bro. I've been working my ass off for 8 years, so. Yeah, I mean, it's just a lot of opportunities that the Marine Corps answered a lot of the things, a lot of the issues I was facing. And I really like the people that are around, so it's cool. Good fit. I fit in really well here. So these are my people, you know. This is where I reside, you know. I like it. Yeah, so I don't want to interrupt my learning, so I'm going to go to college and then join the military. Hey, good shit, and then become an officer. If you go to college first, become an officer. I promise you it's better. You get paid way more. You got to do a little bit more work, but you get paid like double. And there's way more benefits if you're an officer. Remain or better question, when are you going to retire? That's a good question. I don't know if I want to stay in. I have to do at least 2 more years. So my contract goes until 2023, the end of 2023. So I have to at least stay in until then. But for me to stay in longer, because I've been court-martialed, because I got in trouble, I'm going to need a general, like I was talking about earlier. You don't ever talk to generals. I need a general to sign a waiver, like a piece of paper that says it's okay for me to stay in longer. And they usually don't want to do that because they're like signing their name that says like, I believe that this guy is like going to be like good for the Marine Corps in the long term and not like a detriment. Like, so I won't be negative impact on the Marine Corps. So that's like a big risk for them because like if I stay in and I get in trouble again, they'll be like, who let this motherfucker stay in? They'll see that general sign that shit and they'll be like, why'd you let this fucker stay in? And he'll get in trouble. So it's like a risk on their part. So we'll see. I might not even be able to stay in, but I have to at least stay in 2 more years. Which is cool with me because I don't know if I want to stay or not. So we'll see. What are some things you never get used to being in the military? The food. The food's trash. Food sucks. I mean, I guess you get used to the fact that it sucks, but it never gets better. Never gets better. You get treated like a child. That's a big thing. Until you pick up staff sergeant, which is the rank I'm like hopefully going to get this year, you're treated like a child for the most part. Like, I have a lot of responsibility. Like, when I was in the Middle East, I was trusted with a lot of things, and I was able to kind of do things on my own. But, like, back here, like, I'm not allowed to have liquor in my barracks. I can't have any glass bottles in here. I can't have candles in here. I can't have any stoves or things that produce flame that or heat. Sometimes there's a curfew. Every weekend before we leave, someone has to tell us not to drink and drive. And then I'm expected to tell people not to drink and drive and do dumb shit like that every Friday before we leave. So you get babied really hard. But it's because no one ever grows up. Like, being in the military, especially the infantry Marines, no one grows up. You're like, everybody here is still like a kid. You know, like, we never moved on from child life to real life. We're still in like kid life. I just like the games we play are just higher risk because you're risking people's lives, but everyone still acts like kids, man. It's wild. So getting babied, the food. You get used to sleeping outside, but it's not that cool. Like, it sucks. Being away from home. I got used to being away from home really, really fast, so it didn't bother me at all. Like, yeah, I don't mind being away from home. Like, I'd rather be here because there's more amenities, but like as far as like seeing my family, like I like seeing them, but it's I'm fine. It's cool. I'll call my dad every once and again, and we'll work it out from there. It's like freshman, sophomore year in college from my experience. Yeah, pretty much. Like, you're an adult, but people don't treat you like adults, you know. How is your basic training experience like? Man. People don't normally, like, people that are in don't like you to talk about boot camp. Because it's like, no one wants to hear the same stories over and over again, but my boot camp experience was a little different because people were trying to oh shit.
Be very, very quiet. I'm hunting rabbits.
Bartistre 99. Thanks for the follow, homie. Que tal, bro? Yeah, I'm doing good, man. How are you doing? Grassy ass? Yeah, grassy ass. Welcome to the stream. We're talking about boot camp right now. So the drill instructors were like, they were trying their hardest to get me to quit because I was one of the only ones who didn't treat it with the respect that they thought it deserved. Like, to me, boot camp was like a joke. I thought it was like too easy. And everyone around me seemed like they turned their fucking brain off when they got there. Like, Tank could probably attest to this. When you get to boot camp, everybody's under such a high level of pressure and stress that they turn their brain off and act like idiots. Like, no one thinks for themselves in boot camp. But I had been through some stressful shit before that, so to me, boot camp was like not that stressful. Like, it was annoying, like someone's yelling at you like all hours of the day, and then you don't get to sleep enough. So it's annoying. You're always doing something, so you're always tired. But like, it wasn't as stressful to me as it seemed like it was to other people. Not to like brag about myself, but like if you go in there with the right mindset, it's not that fucking bad. But the drill instructors saw that and they singled me out because I knew it was like a joke. So they made me do extra shit and they try to like embarrass me in front of people, and try to get the other guys to not like me, which was not cool. But then once I got out of basic training, it wasn't an issue because I was still one of the only people who used my brain, it seemed like. And then instructors at schools after boot camp see that and they like that, and then they make you a leader, and then you get like benefits to being leader. Like there's more responsibility, but then there's like also benefits, you know, like so after boot camp it was cool. But in boot camp everybody like just shuts off because the stress is too much and they just do dumb shit. They like can't follow instructions. It's like they'll show you how to make your bed and then they'll be like, okay, make your bed, but they're yelling at you while you do it, and it's like, okay, just make your fucking bed. Like, this guy's yelling, but just do it right. And they're like, people would freak out because somebody's yelling at them, and they'd be fucking the bed up. And it's like, dude, just calm down and make the bed right so he stops fucking yelling at you. Like, the answer is in your actions. Like, just do it right, and then they'll fucking leave you alone and yell at the next guy who's fucking it up. It's that simple. Like, if you're not fucking it up, they usually will be like, all right, this guy's fine. And they'll go yell at somebody else. Like, is it like, there's no point in yelling at you because you can handle it. You know what I'm saying? So that was like the biggest thing to me. Was they like, I was mad at everyone else I was there with for being dumb. Like they didn't think and they couldn't handle the pressure. But I mean, it really isn't that bad. If you go in there with the right mindset, it's easy. It's annoying. It's a long 3 months. It's long. It's very long. Because it's non-stop for 3 months. But it's not as bad as you might think. If you watch the movie Full Metal Jacket is a very good depiction of what Marine Corps boot camp is like. So like the opening scene in that movie, you seen that movie? Yeah. So the boot camp scene. It's very similar to that now, except they don't hit you. So, like, drill instructors never hit me. They hurt me in other ways. They made me, like, hurt myself by, like, carrying things that were too heavy or, you know, whatever. But, you don't... They don't physically attack you. And if they do, they go to jail. So, like, that didn't happen. But everything else is very accurate. If that makes sense. And then even when they get out and they're like in Vietnam and shit, that shit's pretty accurate too. It's a little different today. You'd have to translate some of the stuff to like modern day, but yeah, I mean that whole movie it may as well be a documentary. It's very very accurate. All right, let me catch up here. The Tank says when it comes to boot camp based training, the need to unfuck your squad partner you're attached to because they fuck up, you fuck up. Yeah, so it's a big one. The way he said it is kind of weird, but what he means is you get held responsible for those around you. So like in the Marines, your rack mate is a big one. So like if your rack mate is fucking some shit up, so you have like bunk beds. So like the guy on the top and the bottom are rack mates, right? So your bed's your rack. So you're always next to each other, and you're always doing shit together. If your rackmate is fucking some shit up, it's your fault. So, like, you get in trouble, too. And then, like, depending on what you're doing, if you're doing, like, a group activity, like some group workout or something, where you're in squads, if one of you is fucking up, you're all fucking up, right? So, yeah, that's a big one. And you can see that in Full Metal Jacket. If you watch Full Metal Jacket, the guy they call Pyle, I forget his real name, but the guy who shoots himself, he's fucking up, and then everyone else is in trouble for it because he's fucking up, right? That's another big one. That's pretty annoying. But, you know, as long as you don't take it personally, and you're like, you know, you get mad about it, but you don't take it personal, it's not a big deal. Like, you know, that shit happens. Try to help them out as much as you can. But yeah, good point, Tank, for sure. You ever hit a breaking point? No. No, I was real pissed. You've seen me get real pissed at Tekken and then keep playing. You know, I've been real pissed, but I never was like wanted to quit. You know, I've never been there. Like, I've had times where I was like, somebody was making me do workouts and I've like thrown up and like almost passed out and shit. But I've never wanted to quit. Like, I never got to that point. I was just like, man, this really sucks. I wish I wasn't doing this right now. And been real pissed. But, you know me, man. We persevere. We persevere, Margaretti. You know what I'm saying? Get through that shit. You know, it's going to end sometime. It'll be alright. Did they used to hit back in the day? Yeah, bro. Back in the day? It depends on what day you're talking about. Like, even up to the current day, that some drill instructors still hit recruits. But if the recruits tell on them, they'll go to jail. They'll get in a lot of trouble. There's like a lot of investigations going on about like racism and some other shit, mainly from the drill instructors against Muslims. There's some bad blood between some of the infantry drill instructors that were in the Middle East for the war, and then having Middle Easterners, like specifically Muslims, coming through boot camp under their charge, and them being racist against them and hazing them and doing things they shouldn't. So that's been a big problem. I like, obviously I don't condone that. Like, you know, it's fucked up, but like, I don't want to defend them. But from their point of view, right, like, to see both sides of the coin, like, they went to the Middle East and Muslims killed their friends, you know? Yeah, PTSD for sure. You know, Muslims were out there committing jihad and killing their friends, and they think it gives them the right to be racist against Muslims, when it's, you know, it's not. Like, those Muslims killed your friends, not all Muslims, right? Like, you know, when they say, like, not all men and shit, like, not all cops, you know, it's, those are bad arguments to make, but that some people have a hard time detaching, you know, someone's group identity from their individual person, and that's where you can really get into trouble. Like, I might hate a specific person of a specific group, but I'm not going to hate the whole group, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you struggle with that? Yeah, I mean, it's hard. Like, you know, it's, I've definitely had thoughts that, like, later on in my life, I was like, damn, I really thought that way? Like, you know, like, having those kind of thoughts, and, you know, looking back now, I was just immature. Like, I'm still immature from where I think I could be, but, like, I see those kind of thoughts as, immature now. Like, I just don't have enough experience, or I didn't at the time, to realize how dumb I was being. So it's hard. It's very hard for me now to see people discriminate against, like, so we don't have, like, there is racism in the military. There's racism everywhere you go, but, like, it's here, but it's not like a problem really. Because of boot camp and everybody having to come up together, you don't really have that kind of issue. Usually everybody gets along, at least, like, racially, you know. The problem you run into is guys that are senior, so, like, guys that have been in a little bit longer, usually guys who've been on, like, one deployment, so one tour, will come back, and then brand new guys will show up to replace the guys that left. Because you usually do 2 tours, so, like, you show up and you're junior, you do 1 tour, and now you're senior, and then after your second one, you're really senior, but you leave. So the guys that are, like, have done 1 train the guys who have done 0, right? So there's, like, the senior-junior dynamic, if that makes sense. So, like, I've been before, so I'll show you what I learned. The problem you get is the senior guys will haze the junior guys, and, like, and it's fucked up, and I have a hard time with that. Like, so, like, I used to have a hard time, like, being that guy. Like, I didn't really haze people, but, like, I didn't treat them with the respect that they deserved. And now that I realize, like, the fault in my ways, it's, like, I really try to instill around into the guys around me to treat the junior guys with as much respect as they thought they deserved when they were junior guys. And a lot of guys don't see it that way. They see it as like, I was abused when I was junior, so I'm going to abuse them to make it fair, and not the idea of like, I was abused when I was a junior, and I'm not going to because it shouldn't happen to anyone. You know, so that's a hard thing for a lot of people in the military to grasp. It's just the mindset, you know, like, it happened to me, so it should happen to you. But I'm trying to, like, a big thing for me is like, it happened to me, like, because that should happen to me. So it should never happen to you, right? Like, I've seen what it can do and the negative effects, and that's hard to deal with. Is watching like someone you care about be mistreated by someone you work with. The big problem is like, I don't see it because people don't do it around me. Like, they know better. Like, I'll get involved and stop it. The hard thing is like, you know, I'm in here right now streaming, but like 4 doors down, someone is doing some fucked up shit to a junior guy because he doesn't know better, and then I'll find out about it later, and like I was never there to be involved. But I can't be in everyone's room at all times, and I can't live my own life, like, you know. So it's just hard when I hear about it, and like I just wish I could have done something to stop it before it happened, but it's always too late, you know. It's always one of those. Yeah. Breaking point. No, I've never hit my breaking point, Goaters. I think that was the point I was getting at. Oh, also, they used to hit people back in the day. Back in Vietnam, so back in the 60s, it used to be cool. You could just hit, like, recruits. If you were senior, you could beat the fuck out of the dudes under you. No one cared. It was totally cool. So pretty much from, like, the 70s and earlier, and even kind of, like, into the 90s, they could get away with it. But like in the 60s and earlier, it was fucking open season. They beat the fuck out of everyone. Like, yeah, yeah. If you joined the military, you were getting your ass beat. That was just part of it.